Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We are from Group C. Today we're going to presenting about contract documentation.
Definition of contract document. Contract document is the written document that defines the roles, responsibilities, and words under the construction contract and legally binding on the parties. Next, types, form of contract. The administration of construction contracts in Malaysia is facilitated through a standard form of contract. The application of each depends on the type of project, mode of finance, and owner of the project. Standard form of contract that widely implemented in Malaysia are: Number 1. International Federation of Consulting Engineers, FIDIC. FIDIC contract document will be used for projects involving international contract. Next, Public Work Department, which is PWD. Most of the projects under government will apply PWD 203A contract document. Number 3, Pertubuhan Arkitek Malaysia, which is PAM. The private sector will use PAM contract document.
What the difference between tender and contract document? I think everyone already know about these two different. So I just want to remind what the highlight between tender and contract document, just to make everyone clear about this topic. The highlight of tender is invitation, mean an invitation to trade under the term of offer. As we know, there are many types of tender. It is open tender, closed tender, selective tender, and negotiated tender. For a contract, the highlight is an agreement, means the term used when the two parties have reached agreement.
The items included in a contract document were divided into a few parts. The first part is agreement and general condition. First, offer statement. It is to show the detail of the project, such as project title and tender price. Next, the instruction to the tenderer. It will provide every instruction given to the tenderer, such as the information of the bill of quantity, table document, and restriction. Then, form of tender and condition of tendering. It will give the detail for the tendering process. Letter of acceptance and contract detail. Letter of acceptance is an element that must be included in a contract document as a proof between client and contractor. The contract detail will be provided together as it is usually consists of performance bonds and others. Declaration letter of bidder. It is to show that the bidder has accepted the terms and will take any responsibilities in the project. In condition of contract consists its appendix. It is to show the detailed information for the COC, such as the period for honoring payment certificate and date possession of site. Condition of contract also has its addendum. It will provide the other specification that has not stated yet in the contract, such as the information for as-built drawing and scope of work. The third part is the specification. The specification part could help to minimize risk in the future and give support to legal dispute. As example, the specification given in a contract document is the standard specification for building works 2014. The fourth part is the bills of quantity and tender summary. It is one of the important elements that is needed in a contract document. Every element in the building will be measured as the item of bills of quantity. The tender summary will be provided together with the bills of quantity. Based on PWD 203A referred to clause 26, the government reserves the right to adjust the rate in the schedule of rate and the price in the summary of tender submitted by the contractor to ensure their reasonableness before acceptance of tender and the decision of the government shall be final. The quality and the quantity of the works included in the contract sum shall be that which is shown upon the contract drawing or described in the specification and the summary of tender. Okay. PAM refer to clause 12. The quality and the quantity of the works included in the contract sum shall be deemed to be those which are shown upon the contract drawing or set out in the contract deed. Unless otherwise expressly stated, the measurement of variation and provisional quantity shall be carried out in accordance with the principle of the standard method of measurement of building work sanctioned by the Institution of Surveyor Malaysia and currently in force. Lastly, the last part is the list of drawing and drawing specification. Will provide every drawing in the building to overview the whole project before the projects begin. Drawings are used to communicate about technical detail of the project. As example, the drawing included such as plan drawing, elevation drawing, mechanical and electrical drawing. Okay, refer to PWD 203A, refer to clause 22, the contractor shall submit to the SO all drawing, specification, calculation and any other relevant information for approval. No work should commence without prior written consent of the SO. The contractor shall be fully responsible to the design, execution, and maintenance of the works ordered or for which his design has been accepted by the government, and shall absolutely guarantee the government independent of fault that the design, materials and workmanship for the works or part of the work is suitable, functional, safe and compatible with the requirement of the government. PAM refer to clause 3.4. The architect shall without charge to the contractor furnish him with 2 copies of further drawing, details, level and any other information are reasonably necessary either to explain and amplify the contract drawing or to enable the contract to complete the works in accordance with this condition. If the contractor requires any further drawing, detail, level, any other information, he shall specifically apply in writing to the architect for this item in sufficient time before the commencement of construction of the affected works to enable the architect to issue instruction within a period which would not materially delay the progress of the affected works having regard to the completion date.
Next, I'm going to explain about the difference between PWD Form 203A and PAM 2006. First, the difference in sufficiency of contract document. In PWD form, SO will issue instruction regarding any discrepancies in the contract document, meanwhile PAM contract not state. Second, copies of tender document. For PWD not state. For PAM, original signed copy to contractor. Next is further drawing or detail. In PWD will not state. In PAM, contractor and architecture who will responsible for it. So the difference between what work program they use for this table is more state what a PAM contract has than PWD. It is program not part of contract. You can read at this difference, architect's acceptance or programs, availability of documents, limitation of use of document, and as-built drawing and operation and maintenance manuals.
The condition of contract, which is PWD 203A, has stated about superintending officer and superintending officer representative. What is superintending officer? Superintending officer is the person, firm, or corporation appointed as such by the employer for the purpose of the contract. What is superintending officer representative? Superintending officer representative is the person appointed from time to time by the superintending officer under clause 3.2. In clause 3.2b state that the SO representative shall be responsible to SO and his duty are to watch and supervise the works and to test and examine any materials or goods to be used or workmanship employed in connection with the works. Superintending officer authority to delegate. The superintending officer may from time to time delegate to the superintending officer representative any of duties or functions vested in the SO, as listed in the letter of delegation. Quantity surveyor shall be prepared the copy of all such written delegation of power and authority to the contractor. Any instruction or approval given by the SO representative to contractor within the term of such delegation shall be bind the contractor and the government as though it had been given by SO proof that failure of SO representative to disapprove any works or material shall not prejudice the power of SO. Failure of SO representative to disprove such work or material and to order the pulling down, removal or breaking up. If the contractor is not satisfied with the decision of the SO representative, the contractor shall refer the matter to the SO who shall confirm, revise or vary the decision of the SO representative.
SO right to take action. At this point, notwithstanding any provision in this contract, it is hereby agreed that the power of the SO to issue instruction requiring a variation under the clause 24, means variation order, shall be the subject to the financial limit as set out in Appendix 1 hereto. Maksudnya dekat sini adalah hak pegawai untuk mengeluarkan arahan VO atau kerja tambahan di bawah kelas 24 iaitu variation order, tapi ada batasan kewangan atau bajet dia berdasarkan lampiran di dalam appendix 1 lah. Jadi ini saya nyatakan contoh appendix 1 di dalam kontrak dokumen, iaitu in contract document there are a table that will state about the financial limit and who is officer will responsible for it. If the instruction for a variation under the clause 24 is more than the financial limit as set out in Appendix 1, the SO shall obtain the prior written approval of the relevant authorities of the government. Jadi seandainya VO melebihi had kewangan seperti di dalam kontrak atau Appendix 1 tadi itu, pegawai tersebut perlu mendapatkan persetujuan bertulis dahulu daripada pihak berkuasa pemerintah yang terlibat dengan projek tersebut. Next is the right to act on behalf of the government in respect of any matter which arises out of the provision of Clause 51. It is even an consequence of defaults by the contractor. Clause 52, termination on national interest. Clause 53, termination on corruption. Clause 58, site agent and assistant. And the last one is Clause 66, notice it shall be exercised by the officer's name in Appendix 1. Maksudnya, hak bertindak bagi pihak kerajaan berkenaan dengan sesuatu perkara yang bakal timbul dari penuntukan Klaus 51 iaitu mengenai peristiwa dan akibat dari kemungkiran oleh kontraktor. Klaus 52, penamatan kepentingan nasional. Klaus 53 iaitu penamatan rasuah. Klaus 58, ejen dan pembantu tempat. Dan last sekali iaitu Klaus 66 iaitu berkenaan dengan notis dan lain-lain. The contractor shall not be entitled to extension of the time or any additional cost or expense or whatever arising from the compliance with this clause 4. Jadi dekat sini dinyatakan yang kontraktor tidak berhak sama sekali mendapat lanjutan masa atau apa-apa kos untuk pembelanjaan tambahan atau perkara yang bakal timbul dari pematuhan kepada klaus 4 ini.
SO instruction. SO may time to time issue further drawings, details and writing instruction, all of which are hereafter collectively referred to as SO instruction in regard to: first, the variation under clause 24. Second, any discrepancy in or between the contract document. Next, the removal from the site of any materials or goods brought thereon by the contractor and the substitution of any other materials or goods therefore. The removal and re-execution of any works executed by the contractor. The dismissal from the works of any person mentioned in clause 23.6 hereof employed thereupon. Next, the opening up for inspection of any work covered up. The amending and making good of any defects whatsoever under clause 48. Next, any matter which is necessary and incidental to carrying out and completion of works under this contract. Lastly, any matter in respect of which SO is expressly empowered by this contract to issue instruction. All instruction issued by the SO shall be in writing. The contractor shall immediately comply with all instruction issued to him by the SO. If such instruction is given orally, the SO shall then issue a written instruction within 7 days from the date of such oral instruction is given. If within 7 days after receipt of a written notice from the SO requiring complaint of an instruction and the contractor does not comply with that, then the SO, without prejudice to any other rights or remedies available to the government under this contract, undertake the work departmentally or employ and pay another contractor or any other person to execute any work whatsoever which may be necessary to give effect to such instruction. All costs and expense incurred in connection with such employment, including on-cost charge, shall be deducted from any money due or to become due to the contractor under this contract, and failing which such deduction shall be recovered from the performer bond or as a debt due from the contractor. The contractor shall be responsible for all costs and expense incurred by the government in carrying out the works and on-cost charge they calculated by applying the percentage of on-cost charge to the amount incurred. The government shall be entitled to deduct such costs, expense and on-cost charge or any part related from any monies due or to become due to the contractor under this contract, or to recover the same from the performance bond or as a debt due from the contractor.
For clause 2.0, it is about architect instruction. 2.1, the contractor shall subject to clause 2.2 and 2.3 for which comply with all instruction issued to him by the architect in regard to any matter in respect of which the architect is expressly empowered by this condition to issue instruction. Kat sini bermaksud, arkitek diberi kuasa untuk keluarkan arahan kepada kontraktor dan kontraktor perlu mematuhi semua arahan dengan segera yang diberikan oleh arkitek. 2.2 All instruction issued by the architect shall be in writing expressly entitled architect instruction, which is AI. All other form of written instruction including drawing issued by the architect shall be an AI. Ia bermaksud semua arahan yang dikeluarkan oleh arkitek perlu secara bertulis yang menunjukkan architect instruction. Semua form of written instruction termasuk drawing yang dikeluarkan oleh arkitek mestilah mendapat arahan daripada arkitek, iaitu architect instruction. 2.2a Upon written confirmation from the contractor entitled confirmation of architect instruction, CAI. Pengesahan bertulis daripada kontraktor juga perlu mendapatkan Confirmation of Architect Instruction atau CAI. 2.2b Upon subsequent confirmation of written instruction by the architect with an AI, untuk pengesahan bertulis seterusnya iaitu daripada arkitek akan entitled Architect Instruction atau AI. For clause 2.3, it is provision empowering instruction. Upon receipt of a written instruction from the architect, the contractor may request the architect to specify in writing which provision of this condition empower the issue of the said instruction, and the architect shall forthwith comply with such request. If the contractor thereafter comply with the said instruction without invoking any dispute resolution procedure under the contract to establish the architect power in that regard, the instruction shall be deemed to have been duly given under the specified provision. Ini bermaksud, setelah mendapat arahan bertulis daripada arkitek, kontraktor boleh meminta arkitek untuk spesified arahan dalam bentuk bertulis, dan arkitek perlulah segera memenuhi permintaan tersebut. Jika selepas itu kontraktor mematuhi arahan tersebut tanpa menggunakan prosedur pertikaian di bawah kontrak untuk meletakkan kuasa arkitek dalam hal itu, maka arahan tersebut akan dianggap diberikan berdasarkan peruntukan yang ditentukan.
Next, clause 2.4. Failure of contractor to comply with AI. If the time of compliance which shall not be less than 7 days from receipt of the AI is stated by the architect in the AI, and the contractor does not comply therewith, then the employer may, without prejudice to any other rights and remedies which he may possess under the contract, employ and pay other person to execute any work which may be necessary to give effect to such instruction. The cost of employing other person and any additional cost in this connection shall be set off by the employer under clause 30.4. The contract document is really important for you and the client. It is because the contract provides a written document that outlines the full understanding of a business relationship and scope of work so that no one can claim any misunderstanding later down the road. The contract document also binding and legally enforceable. They specify exactly what rights are being purchased and what rights you are retaining.